Hello ladies and gentlemen.
Hi.
My name's Kieran.
I'm Pauline.
And this is Pauline. And welcome to Kieran Husband's Photography. Stags. Look at that. Let's zoom this camera. But we're here in a field and we have mountains in front of us. I was hoping for a little bit more of a meadowy type scene. Not many wildflowers, but the two stags are looking, three stags, look at the size of them antlers, monsters. But yeah, look at this view, isn't that lovely? Got light on the mountains, light on the trees in the foreground. I think that's where we'll start. This location I've been to before, but coming here tonight was a bit of a whim, to be honest. I didn't really know what I'd capture, how I'd capture it, but I had a feeling that this was the place to be. So fingers crossed it all works out. So I've got a little bit of a shot just over here, and okay, first of all, it's already not quite worked out as I imagined being in this field. So I'm kind of making the best of a situation. I think it's still going to be a nice image, but it isn't quite what I was expecting. But I'm going to go for it anyway. And I'm probably going to be doing a few things that I don't normally do. So this might be good for my photography, to challenge myself by, again, doing something I don't normally do. And what I mean by this is I'm going to use a little bit of a telephoto. So I'm going to cause compression in the scene, going on to probably about 60 mil. And I'm going to focus on the tree that's capturing that beautiful evening light-ish kind of still. Might not be quite anymore, but still gonna kind of get the feeling. I'm gonna go onto the tree itself and I'm gonna focus on that tree on a very nice shallow depth of field. So I've gone to f2.8 to focus it. I am gonna give it a little bit more depth than that, so I think I'm gonna go to f5. I'm going to drop that exposure nice and low for that background. I want it to be nice and soft. I've still got some lovely light getting cast on the mountain in the background, so it's not going to be totally boring. The sky, there's nothing up there. So I'm just going to lower the camera down to include more of the foreground, as that's where I've got interest. Okay, so the shot that you're looking at right now is straight out of camera. This is it, unedited. As you might notice, the tree is pretty dark, so I think what I'll do is I'll probably lighten it up, make it look like I'm getting more light on it. So light it on one side, darken it on the other side to give it more contrast, to give it that side light that was there a minute ago when I first chose this shot, but has seemed to, the sun, as the sun's dipped away, it's kind of dissipated a little bit, which is a shame. It is a shame, but I can kind of make that happen a little bit. The background, I'll probably darken up that sky, give it a little bit more contrast, maybe give it a little bit of an orange hue in the sky. The light on the mountain, lighten that up, darken off the rest, so I've got a bit more of a contrast again. And then maybe do something with the foreground. I think there's a little bit of a footpath leading through the grass. You can see where it's all trodden down a little bit. So maybe I can play with the highlights on the side and then deepen them shadows going through the middle, just to try and create that interest, because at the moment the image, it's a bit flat, but I think it could be something quite nice. So with a little bit of editing, a little bit of Photoshop. Anyway, waffle over, you tell me how it looks. So the midges have found us, of course. They had to. But I have got this nice little scene that I've just been working on. You've probably been watching me moving my camera around. And it's one of them scenes where small adjustments make big differences. And I think I've chosen it well, or it might be the fact that the midges have started to get me. But it's going to be a 2-shot exposure, this one. One for the immediate foreground, shooting these lovely, fiery flowers that are just perfect. Beautiful little things within that foreground. I'm going to shoot one close to me. And what I'm really liking about it is they're not overpowering the scene. There's a few of them in the grass. Nice, subdued, not like in your face, bright colour. But yeah, very pretty. And then I'm going to go for the middle of the scene. Make sure that's nice and focused. And then I'll shoot the background. And what I've chosen for the background is this hillside that has got this, just capped by clouds that are just blowing across the top. And there's a little bit of colour up in the sky, but there's not a lot going on, to be honest. But I think that is it for this shot. 3 shots, one for the foreground, one for the there, and one for the mountain in the background. Whoa, they're here. Now, I quickly need to find a shot over here, get set up, and let's go long exposure. So I think I've got my tripod all set up on the hill. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to choose the correct settings for my lens. And yeah, you did just see that my lens was sat in the grass, but it is quite dry at the moment, so you know, worse things have happened. Oh, that breeze is good. Go away, midges. So I'm going to choose an exposure. Then I'm going to go into photo pills and find out how long that should be exposed for. So after putting the settings in there, that turns it into a 3-minute 25-second exposure. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to close my viewfinder. I'm going to make sure my vibration control is turned off, manual focus is turned on, so nothing gets adjusted. And now it's time to go and get this on my tripod. So for those of you that have seen lots of pictures from Chile and places like that, you might be thinking this is a slightly Aquinos inspired picture. And it is a little bit, because I've got these dead trees coming through the scene, coming out towards where I've got the mountain in the background. If it wasn't for the trees that are growing, that are alive, the birch trees, this would be much better. But you can't have it all, and I'm not going to start chopping down nature. So now I've got it all set up. I'm just going to wait for my 3 minutes 21. I've sharpened on the tree, so the background might be a little bit blown out. I've exposed for the entire scene, and then what I might do is I might take a second shot for that tree itself and try and get a little bit more, I don't know, dynamic range between the shadows and the highlights, so then I don't end up introducing grain and stuff like that by trying to recover them shadows too much. So I've got the shot, and what I also did is I didn't just rely on the fact that I captured that one image. I took a series of images as well, going through different shutter speeds to be able to capture different amounts of luminosity within the scene, capturing the detail in the shadows, etc, etc, etc. And the reason why I did that, it's not because I think that the long exposure was going to be bad, it's just so that I know I've captured all the different lights. So when I take that back into editing, I have all of the tools to be able to do anything I'd like to do, which is important. Now tonight has not been the night I expected, but quite often in landscape photography, that's how it goes. You can't make the perfect evening. You've just got to ride the wave and hopefully end up with some success. And I think I've captured at least 2 images tonight that I'm happy with. And considering I only took images of 3, 2 is pretty good. I think the first shot and the last shot. I quite like that mist rolling through them trees. So it wasn't a complete loss. And that's it. Always just try and be creative. Don't get put off by conditions and things not working out how you wanted them to, because it doesn't always. So I'm going to run away. Pauline already has, but we will see you next week, people. It's been short, sweet, but hopefully enjoyable. Peace out, peeps.